Wednesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Hello, Toke Makodige. How are you doing?
I'm very good.
I love your dress.
Thank you. My son is graduating, today. So we're moving from nursery to primary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like a few weeks back when I saw the information and they were giving them uniform, what they would wear, I'm like, they're moving from nursery to primary. Like, it's not a big deal.
It is a big deal.
Only to realize that actually parents fought to remove the occasion from the secondary, primary 6 graduation, so that each person will be celebrated distinctly. That don't collapse it together, because the nursery people don't feel appreciated enough because the senior ones drowning. But I had an amazing time in Abuja. Amura, every time I go to Abuja, I just feel
this girl I just flying with.
Local flights are, but it was very smooth. I'm not going to give shout out. I'm not their brand ambassador, but it was a very smooth ride to and fro. Of course, they delayed the second one by like 40 minutes.
How about my uncle's plane you used?
No, it was not your uncle's plane. But it was really, really a good ride.
My uncle doesn't have plane, no.
But I wanted to say that the careful planning of Abuja, and I look at Lagos, you know that we drove all the way to Gwagwalada. We passed before we see potholes. There are no potholes. I mean, it's possible in Nigeria for you to have a clean environment. You can have pothole-free roads. Please,
let's do it
everywhere. Let's do it everywhere. It makes sense for us to do it everywhere.
Some people go to Abuja every day, so they're like wondering, why are you so surprised? It's like normal.
It's a normal thing.
It was in main Abuja.
Because
you were in Abuja.
You didn't go to all the...
You were not in the...
I drove around business districts.
For that main Abuja, let's just thank the administration of El Rufai as FCT minister at the time.
This is
for
really
sticking to that plan as stubbornly as he did at the time.
Well designed.
They don't scatter the plan.
Well designed.
How are you doing, Nima? Akasha Zibari?
I'm fine. I'm well rested. I tried to pop corn for my children yesterday. The way it didn't work. We didn't get good corn. So I'm going to go and get corn today because my nephew is spending the holiday, and so I have 3 kids and I'm enjoying it.
Interesting.
Yes, I'll try and do more of that. I just relax. Let things happen. This is my overworking style. I'm really saying it's not what it's doing. If you die, you go. So stay
and that's the end.
How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. We thank God. Always doing amazing, BC.
I saw your YouTube channel.
Bisuch TV.
Okay,
yes.
All right.
I'm bringing premium entertainment. Yes, now I'm a business together.
I have, but I'm not consistent with
this. So that name, Bisuch, my husband saw it before we got married. He said he had a dream and he saw Bisuch, BC and Uche. And he saw that we had a water factory in the dream. It was pure water at the time that he saw. I was like, okay, that name sounds good. So it's our business name.
I've used it for many things.
I'm using it for many things, But we're still preparing for Nurturing the Nurturer. On 28th of August, we started sending letters out to schools. So if you know any school that they are wondering how they can deal with children with disabilities, learning differences, they should be a part of the training.
Absolutely. I think it's important because I always say that a lot of people offer help to, even like I do some work for the government of Lagos State in education. I know a lot of people offer help and different. They send you books, they want to do training, but the real need is special education. They need help, they need support, they need partners. So I'm happy that you're doing everything to support. And you can then branch off to other
different.
States.
For every edition, we have a different theme we're working on. So this is special needs.
Well done.
How are you doing, Mariah?
I'm doing well.
We like your hair. I'm just seeing you this week.
I just had to go and relock the hair. But I'm thankful. What was I going to say today? I was going to talk about, I forgot my banter.
You have an event?
I have a live today.
Okay, what time?
It's at, I think, 2 p.m. Is a boot camp for those who want to reinvent yourself by Taiwo Adepoju. So I'm really excited about it.
I think I saw that.
Is it free?
Yeah, of course it's free.
Live is free now.
But the real event is coming up in August. But it's just the live just to have a conversation on it. But I'm excited about that, 2 p.m. Right. And I think that's pretty much it.
I'll set an alarm. If I don't, I will forget.
It's all good. But let's go on a quick break. When we return, we go through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Right, so we're going to start with The Nation. Igboho to Benin court. I fled Nigeria to avoid being killed. CBN hammers Bureau d'Assurance for aiding graft and money laundering. Police FRC to Nigeria, stop bribing us. Why FG is funding projects with loans. Abductors seek 150 million to free Monarch and others. DPO, 6 gunmen die in Imo crossfire. And work for the people, Sanwo-Olu tells council chiefs. What happened to this one bribing who? Did you have that story? Okay, major headline. Let's start with Igboho.
So, Igboho appeared before the court in Benin Republic, and according to his lawyers, questions were bordering about how he came into Benin Republic, who housed him, who helped him when he came in, and what brought him into the country. So he, according to him, he said that he had started an agitation to free his people from killer headsmen, and because of that, he has crossed some lines with some big people, so-called, who wanted his life, and that he tried to leave Nigeria because of that on his way to Germany. And he entered Benin Republic just a day before he was caught, because a day before his flight was due. And basically, that's all.
So that was what they were just pretty much saying, that they had more charges against him from Benin Republic. I was going to take the... Who has this don't bribe us to? Nobody read it.
She'll get there, but I have 2 stories quickly.
Can I go ahead?
Yeah. So a divisional police officer in Imo State was killed by gunmen. So what happened was that a couple of gunmen with about 3 vehicles were entering Omoma village, Omoma town in Oru East local government area of Imo State. And then the police, I think, saw them and planned an ambush. They had a major shootout. At the end of the day, they were able to gun down 6 of the gunmen and arrested 11 of them. But unfortunately for the DPO, he was killed in that attack. So they said they've gone into the bushes. They're trying to trace the other people, other gunmen who were able to escape. Then the second story was, I know it took a story sometime this week, last week, that a local chief in Kaduna State was abducted at about 2 p.m. Now, the abductors have reached out to the family and they are requesting for 100 million. There was also another woman who was abducted, 2 women actually, who was abducted in Benue State. They've also reached out to their family and they're requesting for 50 million. So negotiations are still ongoing as at the time this report was taken. We haven't heard anything about what the government or the police is planning to do to rescue these people.
Okay. Let me finally take the story of Don't Bribe Us. So the FRSC and the Nigerian police, while talking at a conference, stakeholders virtual conference, effective and sustainable strategies for curbing retail corruption, organized by the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, PACAC. The comment was saying that retail corruption is what funds the entire economy, where people bribe every petty bribery to police officers, to security operatives, and the call is, don't bribe us. Don't bribe police officers. No, don't offer bribe, because sometimes you commit crime and you should face the wrath of the law. But Nigerians offer bribe to people to escape the wrath of the law, saying that please don't bribe. But if they demand bribe from you, take the names of the officers and report them to because there's a police monitoring committee whose job is to ensure that people found behaving unethical conduct and they can be dealt with. There's an internal disciplinary committee that Nigerians should work hand in hand with the committees within the police and within FRSC that is supposed to reduce corruption, to ensure that they penalize corrupt police officers, and they themselves, Nigerians, shouldn't offer bribe to police officers.
So when they offer the bribe, do not collect. That's why you are security.
Don't bribe us. I like that phrase. So
the thing should be double. It's 2 ways. Yeah. Don't bribe us. If you bribe us, we will not collect. We will have you arrested. Okay. That is when we know we are serious.
The Minister Fashola has said while he was at an event in Cross River, I think it was commissioning or inspecting actually the new bridge in Cross River, he was saying when critics were complaining about the fact that the government was going on a borrowing spree, he said, where do we get the money from? These are infrastructure projects, and every single borrowed money is tied to a specific project, and that we'd rather the government tax us more like they do in other parts of the world, that it's important for them to borrow in order to be able to complete the projects. And there were other questions concerning compensation to people who had land along the ties where the bridge was being built. He now said that, listen, if it's compensation that is asking for almost the same amount of money that was used to construct the bridge, that doesn't make any sense. But other things like maybe your crops, reallocation, they will do those things ordinarily. But we have to be very reasonable in what we are asking for. Okay, moving on now to The Punch. Fresh varsity strikes looms. FG ASU resume fight on payment platforms. Plant trees, save your houses from storm, says Ayade. Senate drops CCT chairs assault case as judge goes to court. Traffic robbers arrested by Sanwo-Olu arraigned. Love internet scam, Kwara undergraduates bag suspended, sentences, forfeit car crash. Unilateral slain female student autopsy points to strangulation, says pathologist. Medical education, we should address brain drain. Dollars can't treat malaria. Trained doctors, says ex-CMD Mohammed. And Buhari's UK trip for virtual summit, deceptives and apology, says PDP.
So me, I have the CCT, Senate Committee on Ethics and Public Petitions had been looking into that last assault drama between Dala Umar and you know, the Nigerian, young Nigerian, I can't remember his name again.
Security man.
The security man. So suddenly, the chairman House Committee just said, we are removing our hands from this matter because he had gone to court, asking the court to look into the powers of the Senate Committee to look into assault, saying that their job does not involve personal assault charges against this person.
But they did not wait for the court to rule.
No, he did not wait. And I think that the two of them can run parallel. That's my own way of interpreting that section, because the Senate House Committee or the Senate powers cannot be made subject to any rule. But I think also that the young man should have filed an assault action against him immediately. It's clear in that video that he assaulted the man.
Right.
And if you have such an evidence, sue him. But to appear before the Senate Committee twice, according to the lawyer of the young man, appear before the Senate Committee twice and then find a way to not appear. The first time was about EL. The third time, he just went to court to get a court action and make it sub judice and be saying there's no way. And the Senate Committee just immediately hands off.
Right.
Totally
So the Senate themselves should assert their powers.
Yes.
And, and proceed.
Okay.
The major story?
Yeah, the major headline, please.
Yes, so ASU, the president of ASU, Prof. Emmanuel Osodeke, has accused the federal government of breaching their agreements. They had an agreement in 2020 before they decided to call off the strike, and they said the federal government has breached their agreements. Federal government has not been able to pay the academic allowances. They said there were discrepancies in the salaries of ASU members. Some lecturers and professors were receiving 25,000 naira, while others were receiving 80,000 naira, among other things that they accused the federal government. However, the federal government is saying that the only problem we have is the fact that we don't want to pay them through their... There was a platform developed by ASU that they wanted to get all their payments in. I'm trying to get the name of that platform.
Yeah,
but it's,
yes,
no, the University Transparency and Accountability Solution. Yes, so that UTAS. They're saying they cannot use that payment platform because they're not able to pay tax through that platform, and there's no way academic staff, whether academic staff, can be getting their salaries without paying tax. Right. But the Minister of Education is saying that, I don't think it's the Minister of Education. I need to get the name of the Ministry of Education, actually, saying that the UTAS actually deducts tax. That the federal government needs to find out from several of its agencies, because they have presented to the AGF that UTAS platform. Yes. They have presented to the National Assembly, and they all okayed it. They saw that it contained a lot of things that they could do in the academic sector. So it's not about tax, but they need the federal government to, agree to everything that they have signed for. And there may likely be a strike.
On behalf of Mariam, take this plants, trees story. Governor Ayade of Cross River said he is going, in fact, he threatened to issue an executive order to ensure that every single landlord in Cross River State plant at least 4 trees. According to him, it's going to help during the floods, because last time the flooded, that many roofs were thrown out. That the trees are supposed to help protect the homes, and he's going to have, I think he called it some kind of a forest law to ensure that every home, every landlord is able to review the forest laws to guarantee continuous planting of trees and not having to wait for the annual Green Carnival to plant trees. So
let me just talk on this. Let me just chime in something on this. Whenever, from the real estate perspective, when a real estate developer wants to build on a house and he cuts down trees, he pays for every tree being cut down to the homeowners. But there is no process of rebuilding, and the should be planting those trees, and there should be. So when someone collects money for you cutting down trees, it is with the expectation that they are going to replant those trees somewhere else, and the government should look into that fund that just goes into...
All right, let's go on a break. Unfortunately, when we come back, we'll continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, thanks for staying with us. We're going to take one more story in Punch.
I wanted to take the Chief Medical Director,
please.
talking about brain drain and dollars can't treat malaria.
Yes.
The Chief Professor Idris Mohammed is the Chief Medical Director of Maiduguri University Teaching Hospital, and he was complaining about bemoaning the lack of proper training for medical doctors in Nigeria, saying medical doctors in Nigeria will have to go to countries like the US where they now have to be retrained to fit into the system. And that because of that, we cannot blame the level of health that we have here. We're not focusing and investing in the minds of our doctors here. We're not doing enough. Saying, yes, every year we hear dollars, AIDS and all of that coming, but this cannot treat malaria. You need expertise to treat, and that we're not investing where we should. We're not focusing as much.
Please let me quickly tell the story. The PDP has attacked the president and the presidency that it is appalling for the president to travel to UK for a summit that is virtual. So the president is going to the UK, is going to attend Global Education Summit for financing global partnerships. And this summit is going to be virtual. So the PDP Publicity Secretary, Kola Ologbodiyo, said that the presidency should just be clear, he's going for a medical trip, and not say they are going for an official trip for an event that is virtual. One. Number two, that he claims the president has no right to go for medical trip abroad, knowing that they have not been able to invest sustainably in the health sector, and that all Nigerians should speak against what is happening.
Okay, moving on now to the Nigerian Tribune. To plug leaky reserves, CBN stops Forex sales to Bureau de Change. Presidency staff take oath of secrecy, warned against divulging classified information. 1 police officer, 6 bandits killed as police repel attack on Imo community. EFCC freezes account of Oyo Assembly official over 1 billion naira car purchase probe. E-transmission, INEC should be left to decide, says Fayemi. I will never go back to APC, says Tambuwal. 800 new lawyers admitted to the bar, and reps probe alleged killing of 5 in Iseyin by customs officials. Yes,
so
PC.
I have the presidency.
Go ahead.
So the permanent secretary of the State House, Tijani Umar, gave 42 new staff members that were administered their oath of secrecy as they are joining the presidency staff to not try to give out any information from the State House except by authority, maybe as directed by any of the senior kitchen cabinet staff to any outside member. And these staff they took their oath under of secrecy by Justice Hamzat Muazu of the Federal High Court yesterday.
So, as part of an ongoing investigation of the Ministry of the Oyo State House of Assembly, apparently they were supposed to buy brand new cars for members of the assembly, and they now bought refurbished cars. It was not brand new, and a lot of money was found out to have gone into embezzled. So when they were investigating, they found that a director, a staff working in the Oyo Assembly bought a car worth 1 billion naira.
That's all.
How? So they are frozen the director's account. I wish they mentioned the director's name because we would have loved to just announce. But I'm happy about this investigation. They are frozen his accounts, pending how we would explain how we got the funds to buy 1 car for 1 billion. This is our common. Like, I don't understand.
Let them investigate first.
Don't
start crying before the end. Calm down.
They not tell you money is missing anywhere.
I just realized a lot of things. We do a lot of media trial.
And then they will not do it. No, even if it is person is guilty, nothing will
happen. Let
happen.
us stop giving ourselves hypertension.
Exactly.
The House of
So just relax.
The House of Reps on Tuesday has started investigating what happened between the Nigerian Customs Service and some residents of Iseyin local government. So, you know, they had this issue where they went into shops to take the, you know, check they claimed that those people were smuggling rice in, and, you know, they had, we talked about it, yes, that story. But what happened was, by the time they went there, according to the story, according to the chairman, or the chairman, he said that the residents came out and they were using sticks and machetes. They were trying to attack the custom officers, and then they used the gun to disperse them, and unfortunately 2 of them died. But the residents are saying that 5 persons died, and these persons were not smugglers. They were, you know, people, bike men. There were people who were just going about their passerbys, going about their businesses, and stray bullets hit them. Right. So the investigation is still ongoing. They have adjourned to a later date to continue that, you know, conversation. Okay. But the thing was, the problem we had was, they were claiming that they have every right to do what they did according to their laws, that nobody should stop a customs officer from performing his duties, and they now resorted to using guns. Okay, let me move to Vanguard. Sunday Igboho faces fresh charges in Benin Republic. Kano tension as soldiers order closure of Imo market. CBN goes soft, cancels dollar sale to Bureau de Change. 681 intending lawyers fail bar final exams. Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, FG diverts traffic for 72 hours to fix flyover beam. Herders want 750,000 square meters of land in Delta. Rage over Enugu killings. Okay, which story are we taking in Vanguard?
The flyover story. So the rumor that, you know, they will shut down the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway for 3 months is a rumor, and it's false. According to the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos State, Mr. Olukayo Depopola, he said that, you know, they're just going to be diverting and controlling traffic, not blocking it or bypassing or whatever. From when to when? Just between Shagam, to lay a flyover beam that is already done, as would be done within 72 hours. Yeah. That, you know, just within a short 400-meter inwards and outward Lagos distance, and it's not much. So you are going to be leaving a particular portion of the road, diverting into the other lane, and then you come out again in front, traffic can move. So there's no closure of the road.
Okay. Yeah, cattle traders in Delta State. So first of all, they had an open hearing. They wanted to talk about the anti-grazing bill that was passed, and the South governors wanted to pass. So they were requesting that for them to work effectively, they need 750,000 square meters of land dedicated to cattle.
How many land
rearer, so that they can have their medicals there, they can have a portion where, because according to them, they say when they take their cattle to the market, they don't sell out everything. So they need a place for them to graze and all that. But the governor of Delta State and some South governors are saying that this is a business. We cannot just give you a land for you to do your ranching. If you need a land, you have to pay for it. We're not stopping the government if they want to give like a grant to support your business, but no state is going to give you a land to do business for free.
And something
okay, let me ask you one, but out of the 1,561 students who sat for the law exams, 681 failed and 880 passed, and we've been celebrated and graduated yesterday. To take that story of your... Yes. We have to move on. Do you have a story you want to take?
Yes, I want to take the AMCON story. AMCON takes over Nikon. So Nikon is the National Insurance Corporation for Nigeria. National Insurance Corporation of Nigeria. And this company was owned 100% by Nigeria. They now did a privatization system where they sold 70% of the shares to private citizens, only to now find out that most of these investors that bought the 70% were using assets. Of course, Nikon has assets in every part of the country as collateral to take loans from banks. Now, the entire assets now, the loans were taken. The company is now not managed well. Yes. AMCON has had to take over all the assets because it's been it's one of the failed privatization projects that was not properly managed. It is a colossal loss to Nigeria because people just gave Nigeria money, collected it back from banks, and at the end of the day, we are heavily indebted. Really bad.
Let's move on now to Daily Sun. There was a story that caught my attention there. CBN blows hot. We'll talk about that as a hot topic later. Kano's arrest travails won't stop Biafra agitation, says Asetu. Nigeria needs new constitution, adoption of parliamentary system before 2023. PENCOM drags 120 firms to court over non-remittance of contributions. Secondus slams 50 billion naira suit against Afegbua. And Nikon Insurance Rotten Sachs reconstitutes board. Okay, the story about Afegbua I thought was quite interesting. But go ahead, you want to
I
tell
have
the
the PENCOM story.
Go ahead.
So PENCOM has decided to go and enforce the 2014 Pension Reforms Act, non-conforming by setting about 120 firms in Nigeria. According to the PENCOM boss, Mr. Peter Agawa, he says that they are in court presently enforcing against these companies, and that they're also engaging what he called recovery agents to to go to companies that have at least more than 2 staff to join the pension PENCOM and start to contribute towards the pension of their workers. Right. I think it's a good initiative.
All right, so Afe Babalola has said that the only way forward for us is to ensure that we return to true federalism with a parliamentary system of government and one chamber legislature before the 2023 general election. According to him, we must have a new constitution that reflects a multi-religious and multicultural, multilinguistic nature of the country in order to be more involving, even as a single chamber of legislature. I think that's really pretty important, because when we talked about the issue of distrust and mistrust of the system, where you see a customs vehicle and you cannot trust that this is the federal government trying to come and work for you as a citizen, there's obviously a total complete mistrust and distrust for the system. So if we have true federalism where we have independent states or regions, however you want to do it, people can now easily begin to trust and rebuild that trust in little smaller groups than that larger entity called Nigeria that everybody has this mistrust and distrust for.
Okay, we have to about CBN, not at all.
CBN, well, we'll talk about it at the hot topic because it's the hottest topic for business people like you. Let's go on a break. I think we're out of time. Let's go on a break now. When we come back, we'll talk about this issue. CBN just slammed this background on us. So we'll discuss it. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, the CBN recently barred the bureau de change from selling and dealing in Forex trading. And of course, this news had come as a shock to many Nigerians. Joining us on the show right now to help us have a better understanding of the consequences of this is a fiscal policy partner and Africa tax leader at the PricewaterhouseCoopers, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on. All right, so there are mixed feelings concerning this recent ban by CBN of the bureau de change, and it's mostly because we're going back to history and what happened in 2016 when this same ban was given by CBN. If you recall, then at the time it was about 268 to the dollar. And I think the ban was made in January, and by December of the same year, there was about 46% devaluation of the naira. We came to about 495 naira to the dollar. Now, Nigerians are scared that with this ban that just happened, exactly, and right now, dollar is 500 naira to the dollar. Now, we might experience the same thing by the end of the year. What are your own thoughts on this ban, and do you think it's the right thing to do at this time?
Thank you very much. I think maybe the starting point is to identify and situate the problem appropriately. So the problem is lack of dollar liquidity. So we're not generating and earning enough dollars to meet our demand. Whether you talk about foreign direct investment, foreign portfolio investment, diaspora remittances, and from the sale of crude oil, which is where we mostly get our FX from. So that's where the problem started from. And that problem is still there. What the CBN is trying to do is to cut out people who are benefiting from this very difficult time that we are in, and an extremely difficult challenge that we're trying to deal with as a country. So there are people who are benefiting from it. And the way you would know is if you just go back a couple of years and look at the number of BDCs we have in Nigeria, and then fast forward to today, that number has increased by more than tenfold. That's over 1,000% increase. So even though we have less dollar liquidity, less people are traveling, less people are doing medical, tourism. So the demand and the supply of FX is lower. Yet the number of BDCs are increasing. It's because it's profitable. So you can get dollar at somewhere around 400 and sell at about 100 naira margin per dollar. So it's lucrative. So what that then does is it provides the avenue not only for those BDCs making money at the expense of the country, and it's also that they're using it for illicit transactions. So that's what the CBN is trying to stop. I don't think it's a question of whether it's right or wrong. It's a question of after stopping the BDCs, then what do you do? Because that in itself does not increase the supply of dollar to Nigeria. It has to be that you then ensure that the banks, for example, are supplied with the same quantity of dollars you would have supplied to the BDCs. And the process for getting and accessing those dollars at banks should be as simple as it would be when people go to the BDCs, provided they're doing so for legitimate reasons.
Right.
All right. So the central bank has accused the BDCs of abandoning their primary objective, which is to serve the end users by, those people who need $5,000 maximum or minimum, but that they had left that primary objective and they are now using their operations to launder money. Should the first step be to stop giving them Forex, or to have started regulating them and finding those BDCs
yes.
that commit that offense, so that we don't get to this level?
Yes. So the fact that we had a similar scenario played out in 2016 is an indication that just banning them will not solve the problem. So like you said, we had this in 2016. BDCs were banned. Exchange was 268. It went all the way to 495. Even though I would not attribute that devaluation or depreciation in the value of Naira solely to the ban of the BDCs. But at the end of the day, we have to find a systematic and structured way of preventing people who want to abuse the system. So this is not peculiar to Nigeria. This is not peculiar to BDCs. It's just human nature in many places that people want to take advantage of the system to the extent that it benefits them, not minding the overall implication for the larger society. So what we need to do is to better regulate them and have controls. So if you supply, someone $1 million and they operate a BDC, and you ask them to give you documentation and data, and they fail in doing so, don't supply them tomorrow. So we shouldn't wait until these things accumulate and create a bigger problem for us. I think we're at a point now where we have more credible basis of getting data. Maybe you're going to use NIN, maybe you're going to use BVN, something that is more credible that cannot be easily faked to get those data. So what is most important is to know who is buying the dollars and for what purposes. So when you see people start moving volumes, they're no longer doing $4,000, $2,000, they're moving volumes, then you need to start questioning that, not only to stop the abuse, but also to find out, what are they moving the money for? Is it to fund terrorism? Is it for corruption? Is it illicit financial flows? So in which case, after dealing with the FX problem, you hand them over to the relevant authorities for prosecution. When people know that these things are being tracked based on intelligence and data, and there will be consequences, then you deal with the artificial, demand of people just buying dollars for illicit purposes.
Okay.
So I'm really concerned about policy flip-flop and the far-reaching effects of this change in policies. In this year, we've banned several things. We have changed several, we seem to be extremely reactive as a government, not taking into cognizance the far-reaching effects on our economy directly and indirectly through the fact that we won't have foreign direct investment. People will look at us and feel like, I can't put a business here. Every BDC gets licensed, they apply. The CBN has a process for licensing them. So how come when they get licensing, why are we worried about the numbers? Why are we worried about corruption within the BDC? Why are we worried about abuse when everybody knows the rules? That's number one. Number two, is it impossible to identify the corrupt ones and penalize them and fine them and even prosecute them for fraudulent activities? And sir, you understand the economic angle. First, I want you to answer the first question, which is the far-reaching effects on confidence of investors in Nigeria based on the fact that we're always changing policies, and then also addressing the fact that prosecution should be the next action, and we're not doing that.
Yeah, so definitely, any actions you take will have implication on investment and investors' confidence. Maybe positive, maybe negative. So you don't have to also, keep your policies the same regardless, because things also change and you need to adapt to match those situations. So having banned the BDCs, the fundamental question is, what do you then do after that? So of course, it's not a permanent ban. You can't ban BDCs forever. So for how long and what do you want to do? And more importantly, how do you stop that from happening again? And in the interim, what would be the alternatives? So if you supply the I&E window with sufficient liquidity of dollars, that you can, maybe what you should have given to the BDCs, you move it to the I&E window and to the banks. I can then walk to the bank to buy FX for if I want to travel, or if I want to pay medical fees, or if I want to pay for school fees. If I can get that, and it's almost as simple and easy as for BDC, then this should actually have a positive impact on investors' confidence. Because investors will interpret it to say that what you're trying to do is just to deal with the guys who are abusing the system. So that, on one hand, is important. Now, about prosecution, you can only prosecute when you have the right data. I do think that the authorities have the ability and the capacity to collect data and to use that data to prosecute as quickly as possible and not allow these practices to become widespread. If someone does it and gets away with it for a few days, another person will join them. That is why you have that. So it's not bad in itself that you have so many BDCs. It is the fact that why is it that it has suddenly become so attractive? And is it costing us a lot? Because if you don't manage that, it's just going to be completely out of control. Right. We can't afford that.
All right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're still quite worried about this recent ban by CBN of the Bureau d'Echange. Nima had a question for our guest.
Yes. So is it on?
Yes, Mr. Degele, are you still there?
Yes,
okay, go ahead.
I'm not an economist, but when there's scarcity, there's always high demand. And we saw how it played out in 2016. Is this the only way, creating scarcity, is it the only way that the CBN can regulate this sector? Every time they do it, a few people get richer. We know the 2016 made billionaires out of people who had dollars at the time. So is this the only solution, the only way? Can they not look at it knowing that we're a mono economy and we do not have other ways of, to empower the Naira? Are there no other methods to solving this problem within the BDCs?
Yeah, of course, there are other methods. It's just that you have to always think about the consequences. So on one hand, it's not CBN creating the scarcity. So by stopping BDCs, you haven't created scarcity if you continue to supply the same amount of dollars. So it's just a question of the segment of the market you are supplying. So which is why I made the point, if you ensure that all legitimate demands are being met, then it's fine. So which means the people who really suffer the scarcity and the depreciation in the exchange rate are the people doing the illicit transactions. And we shouldn't worry about them, other than, in fact, we should try and find who they are and try and make sure that there are consequences for what they're doing. So I think that if you want to think about the solution, it has to be, how do you bring FDI back? The data we have shows that FDI has declined significantly. That's foreign direct investment. Same thing with foreign portfolio investment and diaspora remittances. So we have to then think about what should we do to bring all of that back. Luckily, the oil price I think is better than what it was in 2016. Although we also have an issue with the OPEC quota where we cannot produce more than a certain level of quantity per day. But overall, if we make sure that we take care of legitimate demands, we make the process of getting the dollars for those legitimate transactions easy, and then get data about those who are trying to game the system and apply sanctions, consequences, and prosecution, and then I think we'll be on our way to solving this problem.
We are all Nigerians. I mean, these people always find a way to beat the system. I mean, because I understand the issue of the FDI's direct investment coming to the country, but shouldn't these be like trade-offs? Like, can't we understand that, listen, at this time, because there are real issues of money laundering. The people that are buying ammunition, we are seeing the fact that headers are armed. These are issues the government is trying to solve, to stop people buying this ammunition. So there's a real problem at hand. So should our focus be, FDI, of the direct investment for now, or to ensure that we stabilize this current issue of dollar in our country?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's one or the other, it's both. So at the same time, you want to have dollar liquidity because you need it. It's an import-dependent economy, so we continue to import a lot of things from refined products to even food items. So you need dollar liquidity. If you don't have enough dollars, you're going to have value of naira depreciating, and that will lead to imported inflation, and that will lead to more difficulties for Nigerian people. At the same time, whether you have dollar or not, even the US, that dollar is their own currency, they still have to deal with terrorism. So whether you have dollar liquidity or not, you have to address the issue of insecurity, funding of terrorism, illicit financial flow from corruption. And those are the things you do by ensuring that your regulators and the right authorities have the capacity, they're using the data, and there's the political will to prosecute. Otherwise, you can see all these things on TV and media generally and do nothing about it, or maybe only address 2 or 3 people who are helpless. And you need the other guys to continue.
Let me take
so it has to be a holistic approach.
Mr. Ajayi, are you there from Ibadan?
I'm here with you.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I want to talk about this ban of period exchange concerning CBN banning them from getting dollars and then halting their license of operation. Now, this one has happened before and has never helped us. Except for those that import things, and you go abroad, you buy things, you have to make payments. So the policy of CBN, I'm still really, I'm trying to comprehend what effect it has really, what it has contributed to the progress of the reduction in dollar rate. As of yesterday, immediately banned this yesterday, dollar has risen to 530.
Wow. So
if these things, if this policy continues, it's going to be affecting us. It has never helped us. Now, if you go to a bank, they have access to dollars, to collect dollars from banks, without all those protocols, and at the end of the day, they will tell you have to fill this form, and you won't even get it. So if we don't have access, if CBN wants to give us direct access to dollars through banks, it's okay. If they have that policy.
Oh, you see, that's an average Nigerian there complaining, and obviously you can feel his pain. I have to wrap up. Let me just let PC jump in here for a quick.
So I am particularly worried about medium and small-scale businesses that will be affected by this ban on giving Forex, because I know that some of these businesses are not able to access Forex through the banks. They go through the BDCs. And now that there is a ban, do you think that they should have been... Excuse me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me, sir?
If a small business, yes, I can. If a small business is doing legitimate business, they can access FS from banks.
For buying
even individuals, if you want to travel today, You can access FX. So if any small business is unable to access FX from banks, it's either because they don't want to go through the rigor or they're hiding what they're doing. So I don't think this is particularly going to affect SMEs negatively.
How much they can access?
A lot of the items that we need, they're not under the list that is accepted. So you want to buy hair, you want to buy clothes, and many Nigerian businesses are buying hair and clothes from
outside the
country, and they need dollars to buy them. So it's not. We're not talking about you are buying.
Are those
machinery.
contrabands though? Are they contrabands?
No, but it's not. Many businesses thrive on it, so it's not like
they're not contraband. They're not contraband. So these are just items that the CBN has prohibited, and they don't just affect SME; they affect everyone. Whether you're big or small, if you're importing items that the CBN does not want to support with their FX, you'll not be able to get it from the bank. So you have to then go and find alternative ways of importing.
And that is where the problem is.
Alternative ways, because right now we are going to be empowering the black markets that are like under G black markets. Because you cannot go to official BDCs anymore. There are people that will fill the gap because there's a need.
Hey.
We'll just be profiting a few people.
Unfortunately, we have to wrap up. But I think we're just going to start this conversation because there are lots of people realistically who need these services from the Bureau de Change. And unfortunately, because the CBN has banned it, it's going to cause a problem. So we'll definitely try to bring in officials from CBN to see what can be done to help close this gap. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us this morning. I think we appreciate your thoughts.
Thank you.
And we'll be in touch with you soon. Let's go on a break now. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, local governments in Nigeria are created, as we know, with the ultimate goal of bringing governance closer to the people at the grassroots. Nigerians are expecting good governance from this part of the government. As you know, last weekend in Lagos State, there was the local government chairman elections. And interestingly, the governor actually swore in the new heads of the individual local governments and the regions in Lagos State. Now, what would you have them do is our question, because we are all, many of us are Lagosians, we live in this state, and we have needs and things we believe the local government should be able to address for us. We'd like you to call us on 081-270-53687. You can also call 091-390-76948. You can send us messages on YouTube and also on Facebook. We'd like to hear your thoughts. What exactly would you like your local government chairman to do? We'd like you to call in, mention your name, the local government area you live in, and what are the areas you want them to address. Let me start with you because we already know your own issue. We kind of know your area, and we know your perennial issues. However, I'd like you to start.
It's beyond Honorable Ramota Akiola. It's beyond her. Congratulations, madam.
But she's the one that became chairman.
So the LCDA covers me. And I'm in a border town between Oriade and Ojo. So sometimes I'll be crossing to Ojo to do some things, and I'm watching both of them and seeing what they're doing. But one major thing I know is within our powers, because the tank farms and the control of traffic there is beyond human. But the drainages and the roads are within her powers, and I'm not impressed by these rains that fell this period of time. How the drainages have collapsed into each other. How we are wondering what will happen. Even if local government, and they're autonomous now, so they cannot even excuse and say it's state government.
Is it official?
It's official. It's even by law. So they're autonomous now. If they are not implementing it in their state, they should be the one shouting, not us. But that doesn't excuse that, certain areas where they should focus on are not being done. At least be the voice of your people to the state and ensure that the development that you need, because your problems are local. We are a coastal town in Amu-Odofin, and because of our coastal nature, every problem that we have was brought there because they think we are the solution to the congesting ports in Apapa, we are the solution for tank farms, we are this and that, and we have heavy-duty vehicles collapsing our gutters. When we now have rain, we are swimming in water. I had to buy a new engine. I'm not smiling at all presently because I see the problem. I see that these are solvable problems. I keep saying it. If during BRF's government, Fashola's government at the time, I saw the dredging that raised the level of land and reduced the water bed and solved a major problem, it can be done. It's just, deliberate policies. So we need all of that. We need them to clear our drainages. We need proper planning, preparing for the rain. We need all of that from local government.
All right, so Tokwe, I know you and I were in the same local government. You know the name of our own chairman?
Yes,
I'm sure you
Samiat, yes.
Samia, that lady. Oh, yeah, we'd love to have her on the show.
Yes, we will.
So what is your own request?
Okay, so for me, one of my core requests is that the local government needs to be more connected to the people.
Right.
And I know that within the area there is a market, and then there are several markets.
Tokwe, pause. Market. New. Have you been to Ketu Market recently?
Yes. Yes.
If you see our market now,
it's not fine.
It's like
very
London.
fine.
It's foreign.
It's like London.
Very
I mean, I was shocked because I was there in December, and then I went there recently. And I was like, what is this? It's not Ketu Market. They've actually built structures around it. So
everybody's in their store.
Yeah. But it's not local government or state.
No, I don't think it is local. But the part that is local government is the funds being collected. There are many funds going to the local government. And I don't know if it is going to the local government or not, but they wear those funny T-shirts and they go around and are seeing people all around. And I believe that we can have sanity within this area, number one. Number two, drainages. We all know that local government packs the drainages and then they put it by the side of the road. Is it possible that we change that system? Like it's a system that has not worked for us. When you pack the drainages from within that place, take it right away from the road sides. 3, hospitals, primary healthcare centers are in every local government, and we do have one here that has a beautiful looking facility, but there are things that can be done to incentivize the doctors. So I'm not talking about the facilities. I'm talking about the human beings in the facility. And many of them, when I engage them personally, are feeling there's this feeling of disgruntlement that we do the work and you are the oga. So I feel as a leader, local governments need to not laud it. You are the grassroots leader. Don't become a chairman and move from your house to a bigger house in a new area.
Yeah.
Remain connected to the grassroots. Let them feel you. Have conversations. Where, if you're a woman, get casual. Stroll along the streets. Feel the pulse of the people. The leadership at local government is the closest, and there mustn't be a gap between people and you.
Let me add to yours, because since we live in the same local government, the inner roads. I don't know what we're going to do with parking, because I know people have to park their cars, but you have people parking on the roads and you're constantly having traffic within those little inner roads. They need to really find a way to get people to not park on the roads. That's one. Number 2, the mechanics. They need to have mechanic garages. Some of them are on the roads, and it really disrupts traffic. And secondly, the inner roads needs to be fixed. There are so many. Me, my own street needs to be fixed. I mean, I write a special letter to Samia. My own road, I will give you my street and my street number. It's quite embarrassing because the road is just so horrible. So I think the inner roads must be fixed by the local government. I hope they have enough budget to do that, and to also cover the potholes even on the major roads as soon as possible. Because especially now that the rains are coming or they're here already, they need to have that consistent filling up of the potholes. BC, let me come to you. What's your own area? Oh, Etiosa, local government.
Don't be shouting on national TV. Etiosa, and one of the issues we have there is the flooding. Yeah. The waters don't really go out. The drainages are not very effective. They are not flowing. So you have rain, and over a few weeks, you still see water clogged on the roads. And another issue that we also have in that area is the fact that a lot of young men are on the streets. So they stand on the road, they are begging, you are not responding, they are banging on your windscreen and all of that. So I think what the local government chairman and the people he's working with should liaise, first of all, with his councillors and the prince, the chiefs around that area to ensure that they engage these young men and take them off the road. There are things that need to be done. So they should find a way to fix them in the local government, give them jobs to do, pay them no matter how much. Because for them to be on the streets seriously begging and looking for money, and I hear that that place is becoming, so I don't go out at night, but a lot of people who go out at night say that some of those boys you see during the day, at night they hold guns, and when you don't give them money, they take it by force. And we've had issues of kidnapping on that road. So those young men need to be taken out of that place. They are able-bodied young men that are ready to work, I believe. So they should find ways to put them
what
in.
they will say is security is under the purview of the government, but we know that security must be local.
Yes,
and councillors are appointed. Councillors will start getting salary from the end of next month.
Imagine.
They are responsible
And
for
all
the
those
immediate
that ride
impact.
bicycle around.
Neighborhood watch. I wanted to
Yeah.
quickly go to neighborhood watch. So we see them in the local government.
Yes,
They have their
empowered.
office in the local
Okay,
government.
that's
and
our own lady, Samiat.
Yes,
their job is to. Their job is to. While we're dancing, let's remember it's a lot of work. So you understand? Well, their job is to give intelligence, gather intelligence. So we had a mad woman that was beaten to death in Abule Ado, and I didn't hear from the chairman. Right under your watch. You know, I would love to see that. I would love to see
on ground.
Be on ground. Be in touch.
It's not the president, it's not the governor that will show up when a crisis like that happens.
You should have a large shoulder. As any chairman, the one in First Stack, his matter is another day matter. You know, we need to have you need to have open hands, open arms for criticism, for what you consider criticism that might just be feedback. You know, in Oriade, for instance, we have the bonded terminals wreaking havoc on people's lives. We spend hours on a 10-minute drive. You're there. You see the school children suffering. The least you can do, approach a bonded terminal as authority in that local government and say, see, these your activities. I am not saying you should stop, but conduct yourself in a way that you know people
take
can
ownership.
You take ownership
because you are a third tier.
Yes,
it's huge.
They don't
you have constitutional powers.
They're not a small fry.
No small businessman, no matter how big he is in the federal government, we look down at you. We engaged the terminal that was in my community in front of my estate, and they sat with us.
Paul, are you
since
there?
We've had
Thanks for calling from K2. Are you? Go ahead, please.
Hello, Paul is working.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah,
You're
Paul is
live.
working. Hello?
Yes, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay, just what I want to just say about Adita Balogo. I know just first of all, congratulations to the chairman, the new elected chairman. I thank God for their victory.
Okay. Okay, we didn't get that. Yes.
Please, I was going to go back to what we were discussing about how powerful the local government chairmen are, both local government, LCDA, councillors, and they're the closest to the people. In the Lekki Etiosa area, we have for me, it's like an epidemic of beggars on the road. Some of them from a particular region with small children. You know, you see them like 5 children gather the car. It is inhuman, and the person to deal with it is not the governor. The person to deal with it is the person closest to the people within that area, and there can be concerted efforts to gather people together. And you have too many rich people that are begging and giving people this money anyway. So why don't you appeal to people to raise the funds and solve their immediate problem long term? That's on one end. On the other end is the fact that we only see our councillors and chairmen when they want to campaign. That's when we see them. Aside from that, the only people we see are governors and House of Representatives. But these people can also come outside and address situations within their area. We mustn't, even if they have weakened your power, give yourself power.
Simple.
You have constitution. You have the constitution backing you.
What I would like to see Princess Samia do is on your Twitter, not Twitter page or whatever page,
Facebook
online page, constantly talk to us.
Yes,
Let us say we're having
press
weekly
release.
meetings or every 2 weeks. Let's just invite members of the public and say that, you go to today, tomorrow you are in K2, the other day you are in whatever, but let us know that you are there. Constantly tell us the various things you're looking at, because we need to hear
town hall meetings.
from you. Town hall meetings as often as possible.
The funds that are available in a mode of that I see, that I know are available in a mode of.
You are seeing the money.
Relax. I know. Murayo, I know. I live there. I go to the markets. I come out of there, and I know that if a local government chairman engages those businessmen, the problems that they are crying and coming to my house to say, Madam, shout on television, they would solve it. We sat with the border terminal in my own community, had a meeting, and since then, they even have rescue trucks for falling trucks. If their truck breaks down on the road before that, they will block us, we'll be there for 6 hours. Immediately, you see them coming out, trying to... They do it themselves, and these are private citizens. Every single thing in my estate,
people,
every single thing from power to roads to degrading, we did ourselves. I know these people were
I want to re-echo what Tokoya had said, that give yourself power. Because the truth is that these times, where everybody's talking about constitutional review, we're talking about strengthening our democracy. It's time to demonstrate Yes, you might not have the funds that you like, but let us even see the authority.
You cannot function effectively.
Use support, use other creative ways. Where you even come out on Saturday morning, say, today we're doing environmental, everybody come and join me. You see what
the distrust for local governments will go. If you start, it's not funding first. So I say that they will come now, they will come and play something on the gate, on defense. I'll be like, defense I did, the gutter I did, and that's the reaction of every Nigerian. I did all this, I opened this road for you. So now you can come and knock on my gate. Go to their doors, engage them and say, these problems that you have, I've seen them. When they come to your office with a petition and say, we have a problem, come to the community, address their CDA meeting. And immediately you're saying, I need 1 million. You will see everybody say, how we tax ourselves. Because we already do.
Let me take this call from James. James, are you there?
My name is Pastor James.
Pastor James, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good morning, ladies.
Morning, sir.
Yeah. Actually, I want to talk. Congratulations to Honorable Mayor Dele Oshinawo, the president chairman of Agboyi local government, Agboyi State local government. Yeah, he has been doing wonderfully well. We've seen what he has done in the past. The road that links Alake to Goodluck Okudu, that road is in a deplorable situation now. And I don't know whether that road is meant for maybe it's the Lagos State government that is supposed to fix that road, or local Agboyi State local government. That road is not good. And I'm calling his attention to that. But he has been doing well in Agboyi State too. He's a good friend of mine. He's an excellent guy. He's studying in the UK and he's been doing well. But inward good luck for Kudu. I don't know whether it's Lagos State government that's supposed to fix that.
Thank you very much, Pastor James. Another thing that the governor has said, Governor Sanwo-Olu said it in the papers, said that they should not be partisan. They should be fair to all. Very important, because you come in as a party chairman and suddenly you want to sideline only your own people you engage. It would be very, very great to see them demonstrate that magnanimity with all members of their community, where you're engaging both non-APC members and they see that you are there to fix the problem. So
I would like them.
I
would like them to focus on service. So you're there, you're called in as a leader, you know the position that you occupy, and you need to focus on service. So especially in that area, there are a lot of informal taxes. There are businessmen who complain that all these council people are coming to collect money and everything. I think that needs to be sanitized. They need to know how many people they are sending to collect all of those informal taxes and find a way to use those taxes to work for the people who live in that environment, to make sure that we have sanity. There's a lot of armed robbery, road robbery, traffic robbery, shootings that are happening. It's time for them to sanitize. Let us see you come out and do your work.
Please, before we go, I know we're going, but whenever people get into new positions, all the family and friends will now show up. Everybody will bring an envelope and portfolio of contracts they want to collect. Please, family and friends of our chairmen and newly appointed councillors, leave them to do the work. Don't go and collect bribe from them. Don't ask them to settle you. They are not there to work for family and friends.
What's the way? That's when somebody died. The children are getting married. School fees.
Because they are now chairmen.
It's not for the local government chairman. Please, let them work.
Full stop.
Let them work. Yes, you help them. You supported them when nobody knew them. We know. God will compensate you.
Amen.
For now, please,
let them face their primary assignments.
Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll bring in our guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So she has been behind some of the biggest real estate deals in Nigeria, with her proficient tentacles spread across over 15 countries, and has thus become an exceptional real estate expert and life coach because of her integrity in preferring a wide range of real estate solutions. Today, Women with Love segment, our guest today is Grace Ofure Ibakomo. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So we have like Wednesdays once in a month where we try to celebrate women who are doing great things. And this month, because we now have a real estate guru, a growing guru amongst us, it was important to put our searchlight on real estate experts in the industry to see what women are doing, how they've been able to spread themselves to even bring in more women into this fold. Tell us about your real estate journey and how it started and where you are and how successful you've become.
First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me here, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
It all started when I came to Lagos to find a job as, I just left school, so like 16 years ago, and I couldn't find a job. So I made up my mind to do something, because when I was coming, I had this idea that when I get to Lagos, somebody was going to give me a job. And because I normally visit Lagos, so I saw a lot of cars, and I saw nice young girls sitting at the back of the car. So Lagos was my dream. Yeah. And when I came and I faced reality. The first thing that happened to me is that when they sent me to go and serve, because I came as a copper, they rejected me. I think it was, then it was something that belongs to a government. They said the people that they sent is too much, so I have to fend for myself. That this is my rejection letter. I should go around and look for something else. So I did. I went around and I got NYC, somebody to accept me. But then they were a growing company and they said they can't retain me. I need to go and get a job. And in the midst of that, I was married. So many things happened. So I just decided to do something. So I woke up one morning trying to do something. And I noticed that I had a lot of young girls in my neighborhood then, somewhere around Agege. They like to change clothes. And down in Katagua Market, I normally go there to buy clothes. But there wasn't capital. So what I just did was, you know what? I went to the market, helped the Igbo guys to bring in customers, and they were paying me some money. Commission for bringing customers to their shop. So there's already, if you bring customer, there's 15 naira. Then at the end of the day, I'll put the monies together, and I buy part of the clothes and take outside. Funny enough, in the market, when you take it outside, like 100% profit.
Oh, wow.
So I started to do that. And I started to sell in the market and take outside the market. Then I was a graduate. I just knew that there was something I was going to do. I just wanted to do something with my life. And trying to do that, I grew a bit. So I rented a small shop. And
from buying clothes to selling?
Yeah, a small shop. And I started selling the Okilika there. So one day I met a friend of mine, and she was looking, we knew each other in school in Edo State. She was looking all posh, and I was interested. And that's one thing I tell women. A lot of times, women just don't want to talk to somebody else that is successful. And you never can tell. So women are supposed to look out for other women. So I was interested. I think what interested me was her phone. I'm like, how did you get this phone? We all left school together. And I put down, because I was hawking my Okilika as a graduate, I put down my Okilika and I started talking to her. She was in a hurry, but I was following her. I was ready to shine her. I was asking her the questions. She told me she was into real estate and that I could actually do that if I had some money. But then I was doing a little savings, and I was so interested. I started to visit her, started to ask her a lot of questions. I didn't leave my Okilika shop anyway, because I can't just live there. Yeah. So I started to ask her, she started telling me about real estate. What got me interested? She started telling me about the profits in real estate. But then anywhere they ask me this question, I don't forget. She said something. She said that you could actually lose your money that very day if you don't buy right, unless you want to stay on the sales side of it. So I just heard that, and I started to continue to think of what to do about real estate. Then one day, an opportunity came. There was a property we were supposed to buy on the island, and my savings was not enough. It was just like a little below 500. Property was 2 million naira. And I had to wear the cap of a market woman. So I got some other ladies together. I said, let us buy it. I'm ready to sign my life. I know this thing will go well. So by the time we bought it, he opened my eyes to say, what is the projection of this money we are going to make? It was a lot of money. I said, no, I need to look at this business. I need to go into this business. So I was still so I need to study this business. I need to understand it. So I started to look for people that were doing very well in the business. I should shine it for them. So what it means for me to shine, I can carry your bag, I can carry your clothes.
Let me pause. You see, we love when women are true and tell us exactly as it is.
What
so
they
we're going to
did.
go to break. I don't want to interrupt you again. It's the final interruption. Stay with us to drive back. Got it.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So we still have our Women We Love, Grace Ibakomu. So you're talking about how you started and how you started shoe shining
For successful people in the industry.
So go ahead with your story.
So I started to do that, and I didn't drop my Okilika. I started to look at the market. Then I started with the sales, and one day I noticed that just selling a real estate piece, I got commission that was worth more than I could even imagine for the next 5 years. You know, seeing that kind of money, and I had to really, really, for the first time, make up my mind to stay on this. And I also noticed, while staying, I noticed the problems that was in real estate investment. I know a lot of people are saying it's a good investment opportunity. Don't forget, I said, my friend told me how people can lose money. So I was trying to learn, why are people losing money? You know, because as a woman, one thing I don't want to do is to lose money. You know, so I started to learn why people losing money in a place like Lagos State. So I saw that there was an integrity issue. From the moneyless to our wonderful developers to the salespeople. So there's a way you can actually lose money in real estate. You can actually really lose money.
Right.
So because I was working for a lot of people, and so there are so many things I cannot change. You know, I tried to change some things. They had their model. They had the way they do their things. This can't be right. And there's not so much I can do because I'm just there. I'm learning. And so I was now determined to say, can I do something different? Can I do something different from what everybody is doing? The one thing that I noticed was the problem was education. I now found that a lot of real estate investors just invest with no education, with no information, with nothing. They just go with the crowd. So when people just come and say, you know what, this is selling fast, there's a return on investment, there's this, and people put money into that. And tomorrow they don't get what they bargained for. Yeah. So I started to offer free services in educating people. So I started to tell people, because I had to spend like 10 years to, let me say, 15 years. I was in real estate 15 years before I started my company. So I didn't just jump into starting my company. That's what a lot of people are saying. Yeah, so people are saying, how come Lifeguard is just barely 2 years plus and you're doing this month? I'm saying, Lifeguard didn't start today. It was a vision, and it was like a ministry. So I've started preaching the gospel of Lifeguard before I actually now register.
You have hit something for me, the role of service in any business you want to do.
A lot of people, young people right now, they don't want to serve. But the truth is, if you don't serve, you can't be a master.
A lot of people are beginning to also study how the Igbos do business because it stems from this service, servitude. They want to learn a trade, they go into the trade, they serve, they understand the trade. So when they come out, it seems like they have just blown, but they have gone through the ranks.
Many years.
Now, how are you helping young women now who are interested in getting into the real estate business? How are you helping them to segue into the business? Do they come through you? Do they serve through you? Or you just train them and leave them?
So like, that's how I noticed that a lot of people don't want to serve. So I came up with this, the first real estate online university, where I not only teach them, I also mentor them. But a lot of them are getting the mentorship. So because for you to get mentorship, you have to work. I worked for free for a lot of people. So I'm even ready to pay you or ready to have a way to pay you. But you have to at least understand this business. Don't be in a hurry to just blow.
That's your own.
You understand? Because when you just want to blow like that, you make a lot of mistakes. I was cheated. So many things happened to me. And those are the things I'm saying, if you do it this way. So we have this program that we do. We have an online university where I personally teach people on how I started, what I did, and where I am going to. Even to the name. You know, a lot of people have asked me, your name is very funny. What's Lifeguard? I said, real estate is like playing a card. So I just say that my card has life. So when you come to play any card with me, it's definitely going to give you life. So same thing to the young people. If you come to play cards with me by working or by being mentored, you're definitely going to have life.
So let's talk about, getting educated. Probably this wasn't your field originally, but what were the extra skills, certifications that you had to get to become an expert in this field when you give?
Okay, so I went to some real estate courses online. At the time I was going to some real estate courses online and get it, I didn't have the money to go abroad. But I know that now we'll go everywhere. But then I was determined to learn from anywhere because I saw the possibilities. Then I saw a problem. In business, once you're able to solve a problem, money will gravitate towards you. So when I started, I wasn't looking for the money. I was looking for solving problems. So even when people invest, and say they want to invest in my business, what I did was, I don't want to make money. So sometimes there are some people that said, okay, I want to do this. And they say, what is your fee? I said, I don't need a fee. I need to make the money for you, then I will demand a fee.
So
that's another thing the young people should learn. So let's assume somebody gives you money and say, do this real estate business for me, buy and sell. And you're able to do it diligently well, with all the truth, all the integrity. And you cannot demand even 40% of the profit. But some of the young people just want to quickly, they are not thorough. They just want to dish quickly because it's a money business, cash out. No. So by the time you do it with 1, 2, 3, 4 people, before you know,
you get referrals
everywhere. Get referrals from everywhere because you have been tried and trusted. So the monies will begin to come. Like now, the monies are actually really coming.
I just need to say that I reached out to her on Instagram because, I was looking for, I'm always trying to find people in the real estate space that I can talk to that will be open. And there were very few women that are truly developing. So I've been to where they built, like her company builds, they have like buildings, sold buildings that are apartments, So, and I've learned, I've seen, and I'm going to learn a whole lot more. We're going to America together. But one of the things that I loved about her story is the grit of the work. Man, you didn't tell us about the work. There is, you need to tell us about the work. I need to tell us about the policy, the impact of flip-flop government policy on business and how one can prepare themselves. So I think we should do policy because we have a lot of policy makers that watch our show and there's a lot of things that can be done better to encourage this industry.
I'm playing in a man's world. So the tension that men can take, we thank God for grace. So you're able to take it. When it comes to policies, we want to do things right. But we want them to also give us opportunity to do things right. Let's talk about when you are doing construction and you need approval. Why is it so difficult? Because we also have businesses we do abroad. Just tell us what to do. So a lot of times when you find people cutting corners, most of them just want to cut corners. So people like us don't want to cut corners, but you make it difficult. You understand? So approval, why will you, this money is, when it comes to real estate, we are talking about bulk money. And if you try the bank and there is no approval, you're supposed to be paying interest.
While you are not gotten approval and you are paying interest on the money.
You're paying interest on the money. Maybe you because you borrowed money to buy the land. So what then happens? So you have failed projects. Failed projects. So that was one of the problems I saw that I was trying to solve. And that was why I started to think of, why don't we do project bit by bit? Why do you go into, that we are going to have problems, approval problems, infrastructure problems.
Oh, Grace, let me come to you. Because a lot of young people who are thinking of getting into real estate think it's quite capital intensive to start. They always feel like, I don't have the money. Where am I going to buy land? Where am I going to buy? They don't know what to do, where to start. So how would a young person hear you out and say, I want to start real estate?
I've told them, the problem we have in Nigeria is that you need to think collaboration.
Partnership.
Good. You need to think partnership. When it comes to real estate, 10 women can come together and do big things. And that's my plan. I've come to also dominate the men. Yes, so women should come together and do big things. So just imagine 5 of us come together. 10 million here, 10 million here, 10 million here, 10 million here. What my 10 million cannot do, our 60 million can do it. So goes to 1 million, goes to 500. The first investment I did in Lagos was collaboration, was my idea. That's why I set up something for the students. And I told the students, you must collaborate. Some of them were saying, I said, for me to give you certificates, you go and collaborate with other students. I know that some of you have a lot of money to stand alone. No, there's a culture I want to build for collaboration. Because when we collaborate, we fight ourselves. Do you understand? So if we want peace, then we must collaborate. So me and her, we are doing business today. How will we fight? Because if we fight and burn the place down, we all lose. So it will even bring unity. So
if you want to work fast,
that's the way
alone.
to go about it. First of all, if you can't stand alone, collaborate. Then if you cannot collaborate, train on sales. A lot of people want the service. They don't know who to talk to. You have your word. Everybody has their own. The people that know me might not know you. I'll be trying to meet you. But she was on your word.
Do the networking.
There's networking. Do you understand? So
connection.
That's the way to. You must open your mind. Nigerians like ownership. I'm the owner. I want to own her. Who cares?
It's not our fault. We will be the head and not the tail. Every day everybody's praying the prayer. Who will not be the tail?
No, but we can all be head.
Yeah.
We can have 20 champions together under one umbrella. And we'll do bigger things. We will not need to go to the bank. If we all put our monies together, we will not need to go to the bank. And that is giving us more profit.
Yes.
Than one person going to the bank, you are going to the bank. At the end of the day, we can't pay.
So we hear of things like, because let me tell you one of my own problems with real estate is the fact that, like a city in Lagos, for example, everybody wants my own land to build my own house. When you go to other cities around the world, they have big projects where they have huge
it's
buildings.
changing.
So we need affordable housing.
It's changing.
For everybody.
So I major on purpose-built apartments. A lot of times, even investors, no matter how much you have, you need training.
Yeah.
A lot of investors want to help, to say, okay, I want to put my money into real estate. Sometimes they just miss it. If you want to own something, it bits and pieces. We have young people in Nigeria, especially Lagos. 90 people relocate to Lagos every day, and they are young people. What they need is comfortable homes like what we have abroad, the condos. So my construction expertise, she knows, is purpose-built apartment. Where from the construction to finishing, we already have people in mind that will take it. We have the market in mind. And other people can begin to buy those little houses. So instead of thinking of buying your own building, your own compound for 50,
you can buy one apartment.
You just buy a small apartment of like 9 million. And funny enough, if you don't stay, somebody is willingly ready to give you, take it over, give you as much as 30% if you are doing short let, or you are even doing monthly rent. Like most of the investors I work for, I tell them from the one, if you want me to be committed to you, be committed to my cause by allowing people to pay monthly. Why can't we pay monthly?
Will they pay?
Yes. They do. Let me tell you why they will pay.
Okay.
They will pay if you have put in structures and process. We are not mad people. I went to some years back, I started to do this because I went somewhere in America, and nice place, like what we do in Nigeria. We're in a hotel, the children eat anywhere they like, the cleaners come, they clean for free. I was debited. And I was like,
you were wondering.
There. Say, why did you debit me? Say, nah, Rome was messy. I said, I don't understand. It's not a hotel. He said, no, it was
serviced apartment?
No, a hotel.
Wow.
That the dirty was more than normal dirty.
I've never heard that before.
I'm telling you. I said, eh. They said, oh, we have the videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we need to do laundry. I said, eh. Okay. I started to negotiate the money. This time around, I started to negotiate the money.
You are not proud.
But by the next day, when the kids, because they are young, it's not their fault. When they carry the food on the bed, I say, please, John.
You debited me.
They can't debit me. There's a table and chair. They had to conform me to act right.
Yeah.
I know I won't do that. They were kids.
Yeah.
I said to that table.
Because there's a system in place to check.
Because there was a system in place to check me.
Yeah.
And they were not ready to let me go.
Right.
And then I'll have to pay for this mess. So there's a system. So if you move into my house, you pay for first month and last month. And that last month is like, so if you don't pay for the next month, your last month is gone. And there are processes. You meet your things outside because it's a box will allow you to bring.
Just a box.
Yes. And then do will start to happen.
Wow.
If you don't take it the next day.
Nigeria is changing.
Yes.
So Nigeria is
about
changing.
learning.
And it's just about, people don't know that. So people are even afraid to put their money into, how will I get my rent? the time has passed. Just do it right. Let your structure, your process be right. And people will conform.
Right.
So it's always interesting listening to you talk, and because of the lessons you have learned. When you talk about collaboration, many people are watching and wondering, how do I collaborate? What are the things I should look out for? Because collaborations can work right and collaborations can go wrong. So what would you say are like the major checklist one should have towards collaboration? How should you approach collaboration?
By having a meeting and discussion. I know you like this. Even to employment, I know you, when anybody that is money free, when you're talking collaboration, first thing you're talking about is how are we going to share it. So
They're not ready.
There are ways to know. Do you understand? I know that you have to go through at least even if the person likes money and you do a proper legal binding. The business, you might fight, but at least nobody will lose because there was documentation. But before we get to fighting, you should try and understand the person. You should try and understand who do I want to collaborate with. You know, you should look for the person's history. You should think of the person's, what have you done? The track record. You know, like some people can come to my office and say, you're not a business person. You understand? Because there is a way a business person talks. I say it's more of a ministry. For me. Do you understand? There's a way a business person talks. It's money, money, money. So you will know, and it's not just only me. We have a lot of wonderful people out there still ready to do business with anybody. You just have put on your sense.
We have to wrap up. I think we've enjoyed this conversation mainly because you've been very real. And that's one of the things about the ladies of your view. Because we are real, we connect easily with people who are real. Just say it as it is. And we thank you for sharing your story of how you started and how you are pushing collaboration amongst women, which is great. And we'll continue to, I'm happy that Tokwe is in your space, so we'll be bringing you often as possible, but it's good to learn. I mean, I told her she's going to give out 40 houses. She mentioned it, and we've corroborated it. But when she's 40, she's giving out 40 houses, and we're holding her to that. Nice. Because she's in our very presence, she started this ministry. In our presence, you'll be successful.
Growing.
They are growing. So,
but I wanted to just do a rejoinder.
Oh, yeah.
So the information concerning the Oyo State House of Assembly, the 1 billion naira was for all the Oyo Assembly cars. It wasn't for one person. So just correction. The 1 billion naira cars of 32 members is being investigated to find who and how, instead of brand new cars, they were giving them refurbished cars. Just to get the information out clearly, because it seems like some people were getting...
We already know now. We can't use 1 billion to buy one car.
Did you get a call?
No, it depends on the car.
1 billion to buy one car.
Thank you very much, madam.
It was great having you. You can connect with her on Instagram.
So that's all we can take on the show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.